And welcome back to our Joe vs. Joe show. It's now going to be the Joe vs. Joe show, not the Joe vs. Joe podcast or YouTube channel. It is a podcast and YouTube channel, but welcome back to the Joe vs. Joe show.
Just easier.
It's just easier.
Say
We
that
are
10
back.
times fast.
Joe vs. Joe show, Joe vs. Joe show, Joe vs. Joe show. That's decent.
That is decent.
I only said it 3 times.
Yeah,
though,
you
so.
needed it.
Anyway, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Jordan.
Yep, and this is the Joe vs. Joe show where we have all your college football action from we don't claim to be experts. We claim to be above average football fans. And we want to interact with you. The best part about this show is that you get to participate. And you get to participate in many different ways. We just really would like it, though. The best way you can participate is if you subscribe down here.
Please subscribe. It helps
Also,
us.
if you follow us on our social medias, Jordan.
Yes, you can not subscribe, but you could follow us at Joe vs. Joe.
Right here.
JOVSJOE. And that's on Instagram, Twitter. Everything is just that thing. So when in doubt, type that and you're good.
Yep, you're going to be great. And you know what? The best part about this show, too, is like with the participation of the crowd and our claim to not be the experts but above average football fans, when you watch the other shows with the experts, you don't really get a chance to participate much. You can comment on something, but they don't really pay too much attention to it. We are going to be happy to share your thoughts and opinions and polls that we put out. Well, Jordan puts out. She does a really good job with our social media. And we want to share what you think. We're gonna all attack this college football season together. Let's give you a good time. And the more participation we get from you guys, the better. So
it is so fun to get a ton of participation. So please like, comment, subscribe, follow, participate in the polls, do all the things.
All the things. We love to hear what you have to think about it, especially because we don't know everything. We're wrong a lot. But we also, according to last year, we were pretty decent. We beat the experts, so we'll take it. Anyway, this week we are talking ACC football.
Yes.
Which is great. Jordan's got her Duke shirt on.
Got my Duke shirt on. Go Blue Devils.
And I'm kind of representing ACC with Notre Dame. They kind of are part of the
For football,
ACC,
they
they're not.
play a lot.
They're independent in
but
football.
They play a lot of ACC teams in football.
And they have a lot of ties with the ACC and other sports. So I am representing them, and we will talk a little bit of Notre Dame football at the end. But here we go with the ACC. And we're just going to dive right into it with our preseason preview for the ACC.
Yes. I would first like to say the ACC is interesting in that they're like the only one of the Power 5 conferences that is not undergoing big change right now.
At the moment, yeah.
The only one. You know, eventually they will. But like every other team or every other conference has experienced big changes or big news in the past, year, few months, whatever it's been. But the ACC is the only one. So they've kind of gotten left out, I think, of a lot of discussion and just a lot of like news. So we're bringing them back. We're going to talk about the ACC. Okay. We're going to start with the top 3 teams out of each division, which is, we got the Coastal and Atlantic division.
We have the Coastal and Atlantic division.
I always
forget.
East or
West
I know. I always forget because it's not North or South and it's not East or West. They're
the Coastal and
the
the
whatever.
Atlantic.
It's the Coastal and the Atlantic. So I always forget that.
Fancy.
But anyway, we are going to start with and then the top team from each of those divisions plays each other in the conference championship. So we're going to start with our top 3 from each division. Joseph, who are your top 3?
I have, ACC was kind of hard, kind of difficult. I am a firm believer that Clemson will be back. I think last year was just a weird year.
And this is the Atlantic division.
Yes, the Atlantic division. I think they just had a weird year last year. They're going to be back.
For a weird year, they ended pretty good. I think they were 14th or something. Like they ended
something
in the
like
top
that.
25. So
they fought back.
Not bad.
They're a good team, though.
Season.
Don't sleep on Clemson. I think they're going to come in first in the Atlantic division, and then also I think NC State's going to come right behind them. There's a lot of hype for NC State this year, and I think that'll be very interesting to see what they can do. Right behind them, I have Wake Forest coming in third in the Atlantic division. In the Coastal division, though, I've got Miami. Miami's coming in big and hot this year. New coach coming from Oregon, Mario Cristobal. That'll be really interesting to see what he can do there. It sounds like he's getting a lot of he's turning that what normally Miami is looked upon as like the fun and crazy,
like kind of almost thug show.
Yeah, in a way
cool.
they're kind of own
they got that big chain,
the big turnover chain. Mario Cristobal got rid of that. He's bringing some he's bringing some strict rules in. It's gonna be interesting. Then we got not West Virginia. We have Virginia Tech. I've got Virginia Tech coming in second. I don't know why. I have no idea. That's a bad prediction, but you know what? Right now I'm gonna hold to it. I'm gonna own it. And then right in third place in the Coastal Division, I have North Carolina. That's mine. A little iffy. I'm a little more confident on the Atlantic side than the Coastal side, but we will see. Jordan, what are yours?
Okay, so I actually have the same 3 for the Atlantic
Same
division.
Order?
Same order and same 3 for the Atlantic division. So that was number 1, Clemson. I do think they're back this year. Number 2, NC State. You know, there's a lot of hype around NC State right now. You know, they're like 4th in some of the like preseason polls, but they're always like, I feel like in the top 8 for a lot of the preseason
They have a really
polls.
good quarterback coming back.
But I just don't believe the hype. I'm sorry. I don't.
Okay.
I don't believe the hype. This is one of the preseason things we were talking about. I think it's
garbage.
I do. And last year it was UNC. They've just moved right over to NC State, and I think it's not going to happen. Okay, and then third, I have Wake Forest. So same order and everything. But in the Coastal Conference, I am a little bit different. Or Coastal Division, I'm a little different. I have Pitt.
You're Pitt. Wow.
I have Pitt winning again because they won last year.
Well, and I need to be careful too because Pitt did win last year.
Pitt did win, and they won the conference last year.
And I have them not even in my top 3.
Yeah,
Yikes.
I think Pitt's gonna be decent this year. I also think that's the easier division, so it won't take as much to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Pitt is gonna come in first. I do have Miami as second. I'm not believing the hype as much. I think Mario Cristobal is overrated as a coach.
Whoa, hot take.
Sorry.
Bam.
Hot take. I do think he's
Wow,
overrated.
you were dogging on the Coastal
I know.
Division.
I am so sorry. Not really. Well, it was actually both because I dogged on SC State too.
True. You are not a believer in the
Anyway,
Coastal
sorry.
Division.
Just calling it like it is. I think Mario Cristobal is overrated. He couldn't do much at Oregon.
He did do some.
But he didn't do as much as they would have liked.
Yeah.
Just watch the Pac-12 championship and you'll see what I mean. Anyway, then I have number 3, North Carolina. So that is my order. Just out of curiosity, who are the other teams, like 4 through 7 out of both?
On the Atlantic Division, after Wake Forest, I have Florida State. I think they'll have a decent year, but they're kind of weird right now. Boston College coming in 5th, Louisville in 6th, and Syracuse coming in 7th. In the Coastal, I have Virginia coming in 4th, although I think Virginia might have a sneaky year, and they're going to mess everything up for me. I don't know why. Then I've got Pitt in 5th. Bad precision, Joseph, but that's what it is.
Own it.
And then Georgia Tech in 6th, and then Duke. I only have winning 2 games this year and 0 games in conference. So,
that many
yikes. They make up for it in basketball, I guess, but.
Okay, so mine, I do think the Atlantic Coast, the Atlantic Division. Why is that so hard for me? The Atlantic Division is top heavy, and then they don't have as great as teams in the down, But then the Coastal Conference is pretty even. So with that being said, I have 4th Florida State, just like you. 5th, I have Louisville, actually.
Wow.
6th, I have Syracuse, and 7th, I have Boston College. And then on the Coastal side, I have 4th Virginia Tech, 5th Virginia, 6th Georgia Tech, and 7th, Duke is just not giving me
Sorry, Duke.
any.
You'll have a good basketball season,
hope
though.
of a good football season.
There you go. Oh, man. Anyway, that's our predictions, kind of top 3, what to expect in the rankings there. We have some big games coming up, though, and the ACC. Man, it'll be very interesting to see how these games go. Jordan, what big games do you see coming?
Well, first, this is an in-conference game, but big, because these are the 2 most talked about teams right now in the ACC. And we have NC State and Clemson. And that's at Clemson too. So really hard to play at Clemson. So I feel like that'll be a tough win for NC State. But they're in the playoff talk right now. They are. In preseason stuff, they're in the playoff talk. If they're going to get in the playoffs, they have to win that game. So that is going to be a huge game, but it also is so important with Clemson to also get in the playoffs. So we'll see about that one.
Well, and in my opinion, that will be their first test, NC State. And honestly, that'll be Clemson's
they
first
don't play
big test as well.
Really big teams. That's like the 5th game of the season. And they don't play great teams up until that game.
It'll be very interesting. That's the game that will determine the conference.
Okay, next big game, we have Clemson at Notre Dame.
Oof.
That's going to be insane. Notre Dame has a new coach. Clemson is coming off a rebuilding year, even though they were still like top 15, you know, it's a pretty good rebuilding year.
I'll take it.
That's going to be a big game, obviously. You got 2 big teams, Clemson and Notre Dame, 2 teams that could easily make the college football playoffs, always in the talk. And that will be a big game for both teams this year.
Oh, yeah. The fact that it's at Notre Dame gives Notre Dame a chance.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually think Notre Dame's going to win that game. But it'll be very interesting. I think if it was at Clemson, I would take Clemson.
I also agree. I actually have Clemson losing that game as well.
Yeah, it's just, if it's at Notre Dame, they're going to be so pumped to play Clemson again. And it'll just be very interesting to see what happens there. If it was at Clemson, though, I would take Clemson.
Yeah. So wait, what do you have Clemson's record as? Really
I have Clemson at 10-2 and 7-1 in conference.
Who do you have them losing to?
Let's see. I have them losing to Florida State. I don't know why. I think it's just going to be a fluke game. It's at Florida State.
I do think Florida State's going to be better this year.
I think it's a trap game for Clemson.
Yeah. I think they're going to be better this year.
And then I think they will lose to Notre Dame.
Yeah. I have them at 11-1, losing to only Notre Dame. So still could definitely go in the college football playoffs with that, especially with that loss. That's a good loss. So cool. Interesting. What are some other big games this
Big
season?
game. We got Pitt and Tennessee, and it's going to be at Pitt. Yes, that's correct. I think that'll be a very interesting game. I think Tennessee's going to be on the rise, but if Tennessee wants to be on the rise, they've got to win this game. Pitt also, just having won the ACC, there's not a lot of talk for them. People are putting them to the side. People like me. People like me, I'm putting them to the side.
Well, and even me. I mean, I have them winning that one division, but I have Clemson and NC State.
You know, if you want to stay in the talk, though, Pitt, you've got to win this game.
Right.
If you don't win against Tennessee, just goodbye to the talk.
Yeah, and especially since it's at Pitt, too. They really need a win.
No, yeah, for sure. For sure. And we also have LSU at Florida State. That will be an interesting game in that LSU hasn't really had an identity since they won the national championship.
Right.
They've kind of phased a little bit, but they
have a new head coach also this year, Brian Kelly, who came from Notre Dame.
And so that will be a big, very interesting game.
That'll be a good way for him to kind of show what he's done so far too. Play Florida State. That's at Florida State too.
And Florida State's just trying to find the identity again.
Right, because they also haven't had an identity since they won the national championship a few years ago.
We just put that together.
Yeah, so these are 2 teams trying to find their identity again. Will they find it this year? Probably not. But
most likely LSU will find more of an identity than Florida State.
Yeah, they do have a new head coach who has a big name to him, so we'll see what
happens. I have LSU winning that game.
I also have LSU winning that game, and I also have Pitt losing to Tennessee.
I also have Pitt losing to Tennessee. Yikes.
Apparently we're more SEC, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, very interesting. But yeah, those are kind of our big notable games of the year. There might be more. If you feel like there's others, let us know. And we'll maybe have to touch over those before we start the season.
Yes. Next, we have sleepers. Who is not talked about enough that could come in and win it all? Who is going to be the surprise of the season?
Well, honestly, the obvious is Clemson and NC State, and you could even say Pitt. But
not for you though.
Not for me. They're not the obvious.
So
choice.
Maybe there's.
I think Miami. If Mario Cristobal really I'm more of a believer in Mario Cristobal than you, I guess. But that's okay. That's okay.
That's why it's the Joe versus Joe podcast.
That's why we're going against
each other,
and that's okay. I think that Miami has always had a lot of potential. They just haven't been able to put it all together. I think with Mario Cristobal, they're actually gonna be able to put it together and be a little more disciplined. They're gonna be more efficient offensively and ruthless.
I will say that Mario Cristobal is, pretty good at just being more disciplined, and that is what they do need, because I feel like Miami does get the talent. They just don't have the discipline. I think
it's a recipe
so maybe
for
it could
success.
work, but I'm not convinced yet.
Yeah, they're my first sleeper team is Miami. Lots of potential there. And I think he's going to draw a lot of attention to good recruits. And this year, I don't think they'll win it, but they're sneaky. They're definitely my number one sleeper team. Who's your number one sleeper team, Jordan?
I would have to say I feel like Pitt is a sleeper team this year because they aren't really talked about. I do have them winning their division, but I just still think they're a sleeper team, Even for me, I have more hope with Clemson and NC State. But I will say Miami is number 2 for me, and so I do think they are a sleeper team. I do think they're going to be a lot better this year. And I think the other teams are not going to be as good this year. So it's kind of both of those things helping Miami out.
Up to this point, with our other episodes, which if you want to see our other episodes, look in the description. They're right there. We've been pretty similar up to this point. I think this Coastal Division in the ACC, we are not in agreement. That's why it's the Joe vs. Joe show. But yeah, this is interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what happens with this one. We'll have to get some follow-up. All right. With that, though, after all is said and done, we're going to have a conference championship game. It can go many different ways here, especially in the Coastal Division, apparently, according to us. Jordan, who do you have going to the conference championship game, and who's your winner?
So I have Clemson, 11-1 Clemson, and Pitt, who I also have 11-1. Yikes. Wow. I really don't think that's going to happen. Wow. I might revise that before our final top 25 comes out. But I have right now Pitt and Clemson going head-to-head in the conference championship, and I have Clemson coming out on top. And I think Clemson could be a CFP team. Who do you have?
The back in it.
I think they are back.
I think I'm gonna have Clemson. I have Clemson at 10-2. So with that, they won't make the CFP. However, I think I definitely have them in the conference championship game, and I'm gonna have them go against Miami. And I've got Miami at 9-3 overall, 6-2 in the conference. Call me crazy, but I just think it's a recipe for success for Miami. However, not enough success that they're gonna win the conference championship. I've got Clemson winning big and wanting it again. They're back and they're hungry. It'll be a very interesting season for Clemson and for all of the ACC. With that, let's dive right into our Notre Dame Fighting Irish that are ACC, not really. They're very independent.
They just play lots of ACC teams.
Out of all the independent teams, Notre Dame obviously has it down. People want to play Notre Dame. It's very easily to schedule good games for them. They have a lot of very, very, very notable games this year.
And it's a big season for them because they also have a new head coach.
Exactly. And, it could go either really good or really bad. I think they do have a schedule that they can definitely make some noise.
And this is a coach that was there last year. He just wasn't the head coach. So he does know the program. It's not like he's coming into a completely new program. So with that, I do think they have an advantage with that as opposed to other new head coaches that are coming in brand new. And
he's loved by the players, and they're really buying into his system. The schedule is, they have a lot of potential to make a lot of noise, make a great run, and maybe make the CFP. However, they have a lot of trap games that are very dangerous.
Really quick, who do you have them? What is your record that you have them?
Well, I currently have them at 10-2.
10-2, great.
Which maybe is like a little too favorable for Notre Dame. 9-3 is probably one of the safer routes.
I actually have 9-3.
Oh, okay.
I have Notre Dame at 9-3, just because while I do think they're gonna have a decent season, I don't think they're gonna be quite the Notre Dame we're all used to. Just with the new head coach, any change in that kind of is hard.
So Jordan, will you go over some of the notable games, but also as you go about the Noble games, maybe mention some of the trap games, because there's some games that Notre Dame I feel like could maybe overlook and really just biff it.
I think their number one trap game. I will go back to the notable games. This is also a notable game, but I think their number one trap game is BYU.
Oh, probably.
Because I think they are going to overlook BYU, and they're going to think we are going to win. But BYU is good. Do not underestimate BYU.
And Notre Dame, you also might think you travel well. However,
BYU also travels well.
Well, in the game is at a neutral site in Las Vegas. And let me tell you, there's a lot of BYU fans in Las Vegas.
But also, it's only 5 hours away from BYU.
Yeah,
so,
where it's multiple states away for Notre Dame.
Yeah, so it's not really like a neutral site. I would say it's heavily advantaged towards BYU.
I think if I were to get, I would probably say it's going to be roughly 50-50, but usually a neutral site game, Notre Dame ends up having more percentage of people there. Yeah, but I think
I've already actually heard that BYU's already sold out their allotted tickets. So I think, if anything, they're going to be more than Notre Dame.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting
to
see
what
what
I think that's their number one trap game, easily overlooked. Especially like Notre Dame to BYU, I think they would overlook them. BYU's not going to overlook Notre Dame. So I think BYU's going to come ready to fight, and I don't know if Notre Dame will. So I actually have Notre Dame losing that game.
Really? You've got BYU winning?
Yes, I do.
I think it'll be a good game. I do think Notre Dame will come out on top. However, I'm not confident with that. I honestly sat there for a long time when I came to this game on my notes. I sat there for a long time really thinking about it, and I couldn't come up with a winner, and I just went with Notre Dame.
Yeah,
probably
I think
wrong.
BYU's going to pull it out.
We have the right to make some amendments here in our future episode the week before the season starts. We have some amendments coming. However, for the moment, I'm going to go with Notre Dame.
I'm going to go with BYU. I really think that that's their trap game, and they're going to lose it.
I do have Notre Dame losing to Ohio State in their first game.
That's another notable game. That'll be a good game, week 1.
And I have them. I think they're going to be beat up by the end of the year. I don't know how deep they are, especially with this new coach. They had some transfers and everything. I think they might be in trouble when they go to USC. That's
another notable game. But yes, so I actually have them losing to both as well, which is why I have them at 9-3. Ohio State, good luck, and it's at Ohio State. Like, it's good luck with that, you know. Ohio State is ready to make a vengeance this year after not even going to the Big Ten championship last year.
With Ohio State, we'll talk about you later, I guess. But pretty much your off year was an amazing year. So.
Yep. But I do think they're going to lose that game, and I also think they're going to lose at USC. It's hard to play at USC, and I do think they're going to be beat up. So those are my 3 losses and big notable games.
And not only that with the USC game, USC with their new coach and all their hype, after a whole season minus 1 game, they're going to have a lot figured out. They're going to be really tough.
Yep. And another notable game that we've already mentioned, though, but we'll just remind you, they are also playing Clemson at Notre Dame. That's the only one that I have them winning. That's the notable games we've mentioned. Oops.
They might as well be part of the ACC.
I know.
How many? 1?
Clemson, Boston College, North Carolina. I guess that's...
Syracuse.
Oh, Syracuse. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's Notre Dame for you.
It's Notre Dame.
And
that's the ACC. Let us know what you think. We had a lot of disagreements and hot takes. Let us know how you feel about the situation. Maybe we're both are wrong. And, that's what it's all about with this podcast. We want to know what you think. We're sharing with you guys what we think. We have a fun relationship with college football, and we love it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, reminder, subscribe. Please subscribe.
Please share it.
Follow
please like
Jordan.
it, comment.
Not follow Jordan. Well, follow Jordan. Follow our account. She does a really good job with our social media. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
Try to keep it interactive and fun with all the polls and stuff. So please participate. It's so much fun. Okay, we are so grateful for you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.